They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet. Gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen. In Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Hello, Mrs. Farmer.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing?
Stop it.
You know what? If we stand too close, our cowboy hats.
That's right.
But that's okay. You know what? 2017, boom. It's
Gone.
It's out of here. But you know what? It was a good year. And we wanted to show you every year, this is a tradition, we show kind of a look back. We can't show you every segment because there's a lot of them. But Kelly has magic fingers.
Yes, she does.
She can take us through on a little collage. A look back at 17. Then we've got some stuff that we really want to revisit because it really was like groundbreaking stuff.
Yes, it was.
When we take the cattle this year in, we'll keep the bones and the marrow. That's
right.
Coming up later. But first, here's our collage. Where did you graduate from? Collage.
Collage?
All right, so I was looking online, and my knee was hurting.
Your knee was hurting.
My knee was hurting. So you look online.
I remember that. Yes,
you self-diagnose.
That's right.
First of all, it's the horrible things. You got a huge tumor the size of a basketball, and you're gonna die. Then you break it down to maybe just a little arthritis or something.
Right.
So anyhow, I started reading about bone broth, and you know me.
Yeah.
I just soon try it myself. So we got some bones over in Garrett County. I made me some broth, some bone broth from pasture-fed cattle. Now, just watch. It's amazing. So simple. Nothing to it. All right, Mrs. Farmer, if you will, grab that tray that we've already put in the oven.
Okay.
And we'll see what it looks like after about an hour on 375.
Okay.
You can see the marrow itself is browned up. That's what you want to see. And that smells really good.
Yes, it does.
Now, we are preparing this in a stock pot, which you can do too. Now, we did this, we got a big slow cooker.
Right, just let it go.
We want to show you the various ways you can do this. You can do this on your stove top. Basically put it on a low simmer and just let it go, walk away.
Yeah.
There's one thing that happens through this process. If you see a lot of fat that comes up to the top, just scoop that off.
Okay.
Get that out of the way. We don't want a bunch of fat.
Right.
But we need gelatin in our body, in our gut. We need them in our joints. And when this starts to firm up, it becomes gelatinous.
How'd you get so smart?
You know what? Once I started looking at this process and talking to Cliff about this whole process, I got really, really interested in it. And it was, like I said, peeling the layer back.
Right.
It's so good for you. Now, not to be Tim the science guy, but I'm gonna give you some details on.
You've been digging.
I've been digging. All right, Mrs. Farmer, if you would like, go ahead and plop those in there if they're not too hot to handle. Now we're going to do everything right on this. This is filtered water. We want this to be super healthy so we can detox after we've eaten all our bad stuff.
Okay.
So simple. We're just going to cut the ends off these.
Right.
Of course, any bad parts take off, but leave.
Cut the ends off the
This
carrot.
is for flavor
Okay.
and nutrients.
So we don't want
Leave
that.
the skins on.
So just
everything
cut 'em?
else.
How
yeah.
big?
Oh, you know, about like that. And if you see your water coming down below your bones, just add a little bit more water. This is so simple, it's almost ridiculous.
Same with the celery?
Same as the celery.
All this?
A couple handfuls. I'd
Okay.
say that's good right
Good.
there. Plop that in, and this is all for taste. And if you want to put an onion in there,
How much onion? About half
I'd
of
say
it?
about half of that big onion.
And don't skin it, you said?
Oh, you can take that base off and
Right.
maybe peel a layer or two back. But the thing is, we're gonna scoop this water out, and we're gonna ladle the water out and strain it through cheesecloth directly into a quart jar. Now, if you wanted to put it in Tupperware and freeze it, you can do that too. Now, it'll stay. You can keep it in the refrigerator for a week.
That's it.
Of course, we're gonna use it. Now, if you freeze it, obviously it's gonna last for several months. The last thing we got to do for that much, I mean, those are some big old bones. We want to make sure that. And this is the Bragg's raw unfiltered cider
You like
vinegar.
the
They
organic,
say
you
that
like-
that's good for you. I take a little bit of that every day too when I think about it. I'm going to put, I don't know, 3 tablespoons in there. You said it's about 3,
Yeah,
3.5 tablespoons.
perfect.
And then you get that up to a slow boil. Then you back off and just simmer.
Okay.
You get
The onions are getting me.
onion eyes.
Ooh, I'm crying because I'm so happy.
All right, now go ahead and set that on the stove, if you will, Mrs.
Okay.
Farmer.
It smells
that.
amazing.
Now, again, I have many times gone ahead and gotten the fat off the top of it. And what I'm going to do a little bit at a time is we're going to just strain this out so there's no parts and pieces. It'll be a fairly clear liquid that we have. Does this remind you of rendering lard?
Yeah, it does. Have you tasted this yet? It smells amazing.
It smells like a wonderful roast sort of thing.
So you can make noodles with this, put it
Oh,
with your
yeah.
roast.
Yeah, it's not just for taking a couple tablespoons
to cook with.
medicinally, but yeah, you can cook with it. I'm going to actually take it and warm it up and have, half a cup a day.
See, I drink this at night like soup. I would have a little bowl of soup.
You love stuff like
I
this.
do.
And once we pour this, you're going to see the fat come to the top. Once that cools down, just take that right off the
Okay.
top.
So you don't want the fat.
You don't want the fat. And you can see that already.
So we store this in the fridge?
Store it in the fridge. Okay, we'd like to show everything that happened on the farm, but we can't do that in a half hour. But I had some bee problems last year. We had a nice warm day like this in February. Boom, they cleared out. They were gone.
I remember that. It was awful.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So later that year, we saw a swarm. I called Alan. Now here's what happens next time you see a swarm. Here's how you can collect that for your own honey usage. All right, we're just getting ready to have dinner. And Nikki looked out the window. The other day, I looked out the window and I saw something like this. Today, we look out here and we see a swarm.
Yep.
So what am I going to do but call the bee dude?
We're going to put them in a box.
Put them in a box. Let's talk about this. Now, a lot of times people will see something like this. This happens. You know what happens. I know what happens. These are a precious commodity. They pollinate. They play an important role in the ecosystem. They're very calm right now because they're swarming and they've come out of the hive. A new queen or the old queen has come out, and they're protecting her. A lot of times people say, oh, it's a bunch of bees, get the can of Raid.
First thing they want to do is spray them.
First of all, they're not going to hurt you when they're doing this. Tell us what a swarm is and what's going on here.
They're here because the hive has got enough bees in it to support it, and the workers have decided that there's enough of us in here, and let's move out and start another colony.
So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a healthy thing. I've got a really thriving hive up there.
Yeah.
So they grow.
Yeah,
And it's time for somebody to move out.
It's normal. I mean, it's normal. What a lot of people do is they'll split their hives to prevent swarming. Is what they'll do.
Now, something that's kind of unique here. She spreads her scent out on this lamb. Now, if that was still up there, this is not 2 swarms. This is probably
This is one swarm,
this is one
and
swarm.
the weight
that's,
of them
that's
has bent this
fallen
one
down.
over.
Now, non-aggressive. I mean, here I am right here. You know, I could actually touch them.
Yeah, you can reach in there and touch them.
And there's nothing, you know, they're not aggressive. They're not guarding their honey per se.
No, there's nothing for them to protect right now. Right now, in one of these 2 balls of bees right here, the queen's in the middle of it. And basically that's kind of what they're protecting, but there's nothing for them really to defend.
They say location, location, location.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like this is a pretty good spot up here. This little blue box is going from the other day. That's thriving up here. Maybe try to get one more going.
Take another one, set up right next to the other box.
See what happens. Thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome, bud.
Because he's the bee dude. All right, we're back. They're still here, thank goodness.
Yep.
Now what they're doing is sending out scouts now, trying to find a new home. So they haven't found one yet. So we're going to provide one, correct?
Yep, we're going to put them in this box right here.
All right, so basically you have some protection.
Yeah, so better safe than
So
sorry.
I'm going to stand off to the side, as usual,
All right.
and watch you do what you do. So, you know, and again, these are non-aggressive in this type fashion, but again, you have heard of people
Oh, yeah.
getting
Yeah,
stung.
yeah, and all it takes is for 1 or 2 to get them fired up, you know.
Yeah.
They release that pheromone, you know, when they pull that stinger out, there's a pheromone that goes off. Yeah, I'm going to trim some of these branches off the end right here so I can get that box, and I'll probably just cut it up here, then just take it and leave the box and just lay it in there.
Right.
Then that'll give me room to work
To get them
that other
down.
one
And they're like, hey, what do we got here?
Probably what I'll do is I'll let them get in there for a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and start cutting these down up here and lay them in there with it and give them a little bit, and then I'll just shake them off. What I'll do is put this lid on here
Uh-huh.
and then let them calm down for a little bit and see what happens. I'm going to open this up and put these other frames back in here.
All right.
Put the inner cover back on, and then we'll take it up there and put it in place.
All right, these next 2 things, we're going to try to sneak these in. This is really popular. People like our cowboy cooking, and we're going to do
That's
a
right.
lot more. That's why we wore hats. Plus, because we had bad hair.
That's
I
right,
had
bad hair day.
Okay. So basically, a lot more cowboy cooking coming.
Mm-hmm.
We did a baked spaghetti dish that people really like.
That was delicious.
This is so much fun when you're out and about. And you had it when you were a kid. I
Right.
had it when I was a kid. Baked spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it spaghetti pie, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you go back and look, we did a recipe on making your own sweet Italian sausage. Let's go back and take a quick look at that. All right, so we've got some sweet Italian sausage, some hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to use probably a half a pound of each.
Okay.
We like a lot of meat in our sauce. All right, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's take our onions, and then we're going to use a half of a medium-sized onion. And if you'll cut me some shallot, I love the flavor of a shallot. So this is an average-sized shallot. We're going to put that in there as well. Now, the great thing about this particular recipe is it's quick.
I
And
like
it's
quick.
delicious and it's cheesy. And you can determine how much cheese you want or don't want. You can determine how much meat you do or don't want, so on and so forth. We have canned our own tomatoes, and I've put just, I'd say 2 tablespoons of dried Italian seasoning in there. Plus, went out on the back porch, and we got some fresh basil, and we got some fresh oregano, and if you will, Mrs. Farmer.
Gonna get that
Let's
ready.
chop those up and add that as well, because that's just going to give us more wonderful fresh flavors. Normally, on our Lodge pan, it's 17 and 8 for 350 degrees. We're going to go a little light on the top of the 12-inch where your custard is, because that's 325. We'll go a little heavy on the top. So normally, on your 10-inch, to get 350 degrees, it's 14 and 7. So keep that in mind. Keep your timing in mind. All right, now look at that. Is that not beautiful?
It smells
I'll
good.
tell you what we'll do. There's no law against us taking half of that sweet Italian sausage. let's go ahead and cut that in half. I'm gonna throw that right in with the onions.
Alrighty.
And let's take some more of that, pop that in, because we do like our meat. Now remember, this is a 10-inch pan. So now, we're gonna let that go. And again, if you're out in the woods and all you have is logs and kindling and so on and so forth, you do the same thing we're doing here. So many people like the convenience of the fact that you can do matchlit charcoal and boom, you have X amount. And we really do that for the simplicity. Sometimes, most of the time when we're out camping or cooking, we just have wood with us.
Right.
Okay, this is getting close, Mrs. Farmer.
Right.
So what we're gonna do, let's take our bed of spaghetti.
Okay.
I don't think we have to explain the part about boiling spaghetti. It's pretty easy. But that is our base. Now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add some butter, okay? While that's hot. Nikki, if you'll break those, let's beat those 2 eggs.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and plop that in there to thicken that up. And while we're doing that, we're gonna take some Parmesan cheese. You go ahead and put those eggs in.
You want the eggs in?
Yep.
All right.
This is gonna be our base, our nest, if you will. So look at what we got here. So that thickens that up.
Okay.
And so that egg's gonna firm up a little bit. Now just to add to that, let's take a little bit of our fresh herbs and spices and put in there. All right, now we're gonna take our ricotta.
Okay.
And we're gonna put it right on top of there. Now I'm saying about a cup.
You want little clumps?
Let's just make spread it out as evenly as you can. So look what we got going here.
That looks good already.
So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add our canned tomatoes. Let's put a little sauce in there too.
All right.
We're gonna go about, I don't know, half a cup of sauce. Now, to make this more beautiful, more wonderful, we'll take some more of our fresh basil and oregano.
I like that.
You know, I really like a lot of taste. You can make your own basil pesto, and we've showed you how to do that. I'm gonna put that in there just to intensify the flavors. Okay, now Mrs. Farmer, if you don't mind helping me take some of this sauce and pour right directly into this pan. Now what are we gonna do? Oh, what do you think about some more cheese?
And some mozzarella?
So now, I'm gonna really go crazy on the mozzarella.
Good, I like mozzarella.
Now we're gonna take as much mozzarella as you want. I'm saying there's
a lot of mozzarella.
I'm gonna take some more Parmesan just to top this off, because we can. Nobody said we couldn't. And what tiny little bit of our precious basil and oregano we've got right here, we're just gonna sprinkle that over the top, just like that. All right, oh, look what we got going on, Mrs. Farmer.
I can't wait.
What do you think?
I think we need to eat it.
Let's grab a top.
Okay.
When we're done with this, we take the coals out and put them on top for further use. So isn't that great? You ready, Mrs. Farmer?
I'm starving.
Take a peek?
I can't wait. Oh, wow.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
No.
We're going to take this and we're going to set it on the table.
Yum.
What do you think, Mrs. Farmer?
I think we can eat that.
I said this 100 times. I looked at the Things to Do in Kentucky events calendar.
That's right, I remember that.
And it says Goetta Festival. I'm like, what in the world are they talking about? We went up there and it changed my life. You got to get some Goetta. Trust me, got to get some Goetta. So here we have Dan, who is the Goetta guy. Now you are Dan Gleer.
Yes.
So please tell us, if you will, how this thing got started, when it got started, the whole history.
The whole history. Okay. Dad grew up in a butcher family on his mother's side. His father was a violin maker, German. In fact, the family spoke German up until World War I.
Wow.
And came over from Germany, settled in a German community, which was Cincinnati at the time. Dad was told there's no future in the violin making business, get you another trade. So he grew up, started at 12 years old in the family butcher shop. Was drafted in World War II. And before that, he had apprenticed as a sausage maker at the H.H. Meyer Packing Company over in Cincinnati.
Aha.
Again, Meyer, good German name. So the Air Force put him into special units to do that kind of stuff. He wound up in England. But when he came back home, then he approached his brother and said, look, there's no way two families can get a good living out of a little retail store. You're going to need to find your own way. Yeah. He opened up a butcher shop. He and my mom opened up a butcher shop, and it had a sausage kitchen in the back, which was ideal for my dad. He had developed or begun developing his Goetta formula mid to late 30s. Then when he got his own butcher shop, he was able to create it. He said, I made Goetta in a 50-pound lard can. So that's how it got started,
Now
1946.
Where did Goetta itself begin?
Goetta itself, Goetta, the name, is a corruption. It essentially says grits. We know that Goetta, of the type of product that was made here in Cincinnati, that was made in the Hanover, Westphalia area of Germany. It's kind of in the upper quadrant. Made there, probably, definitely not known as Goetta, but known probably as Grützwurst, or grits and sausage.
Gotcha.
So that's where it began. When groups of those immigrants came to Cincinnati, they brought those kind of products with them. It is a peasant food, or was, because you could take the scraps of the hog at killing time, mix it with some grain to extend it, and you could wind up with some pretty good, healthy product.
So it's filling. It's got some grain in it. It's got the meat itself. So at what point did this take off and become a staple?
Well, in the mid-60s, the United States Department of Agriculture was establishing what they called standards of identity. In other words, they took products and said, okay, this is what a wiener is, this is what a bologna is, this is what, so they restricted as to what you could call it when you made it. Goetta was one of those regional products that didn't have a standard of identity, and USDA established one. They used my dad's formula as the basis for the standard of identity. Now, it has some other things in it. For example, he uses only whole grain steel cut oats, but you could also use oatmeal if you wanted to use that under the standard of
Let's
identity.
talk about, for those who don't know, what is steel cut?
Steel cut, if you looked at a whole grain of oat, it looks somewhat like wheat or rice, all right? And then to steel cut it, you take essentially and blow it down a little tube and have a knife break it into 3 pieces. That's steel cutting the oat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what happens in the factory.
Okay.
There's more than one room. What happens in here?
Yes, Goetta is a denatured product.
Meaning?
Denatured, cooked, partially cooked. That's our first and what we call parboil. You boil the meat off. Then we take the meats, grind them, mix them with the rest of the ingredients, the oats, the spices, the herbs, which is onion, fresh onion, and mix that all together and then stew it for hours until it gets ready. When you hydrate the oat, that's when you know it's done.
So we're going to go inside and take a look around and see all the process. The one guy in there, he was taking it and actually manually.
Yes.
It comes into a tube, it cuts it off, and he stacks it over, and the guys there pricing it. So this is still manually done.
Oh yes, yeah. It's still manually stirred. I mean, we don't have machines to stir. We got guys with big, strong shoulders.
Thank you so much for sharing history with us today.
Thank
tradition,
you so much.
And gotta get some Goetta.
Gotta get it.
When you're cooking this Goetta up, if you're frying it, remember that it's got the steel cut oats and it does pop.
That's right.
So, watch your eyes. But we made some sliders.
Delicious.
Got an idea from the guy at the festival. Oh, wow. Delicious. Nothing like it. And if you'd like to take a look at some more stuff from 2017, 2016, 15, 14, 13, 12,
Wow.
where would you go?
TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com.
That's exactly where I'd go.
Really?
That's what I was going to say.
That's where you go every day.
That's where I go. Check us out on YouTube and always hit subscribe. Then what happens? Every time a new video comes out, we'll let you know about it.
That's right.
Also, our Facebook page. How in the world would you become a friend on our Facebook page?
Go on there and hit like.
That's all you got to do. Boom,
That's right.
hit like. That's it. And at this time, Mrs. Farmer, all I got left to say, it's all about
Good times.
good friends.
We don't have anything to eat, but good eats.
And we're going to get something.
Okay, let's go
something
get
good
some.
right now.
Let's go
Some
get
seafood, by the way.
Yum.
We'll see you next week with the brand new Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. There's an acorn.
To order a cookbook, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com. Special thanks to CKY, Canoe Kentucky, Furniture World Superstore, Housewarmings, Lodge Cast Iron, Tater Knob Pottery and Farm,